Good morning, everyone. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. We have a lot of people still joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan Garmers. I'm with the Bridal Masterclass. We offer different resources and online education, community, and support for wedding professionals. If you can all make sure that your audio is muted. So if you haven't already, at the bottom left corner, there should be a little microphone, and you want to make sure that you are muted. For those of you just joining now, if you can see in the chat, if you go ahead and join the chat, we'd love for everyone to introduce themselves, say your name and where you're from, so we can kind of get a sense of who's going to be joining us. Again, just make sure that as you're joining, that you are muting your microphone. And we're going to get started very soon. We're going to be talking about social media today. In the chat, if you'd like to include what your social media tags are. So for Facebook, for Instagram, that way people can find you, follow you, and support you as well. So you definitely want to add that in the chat so that people can learn what you're doing on social and see how you're faring. I know this is a little bit of a crazy time right now, so it can be a little bit confusing as to what to post, but sometimes not just learning from us, but also learning from each other is helpful. And so we want to make sure that we want to provide that type of opportunity, for all of you to be able to be part of that community. So again, as you're joining, just make sure that you're muting yourself and that you have, great. So just adding more in, that you're muting yourself, but also in the chat. So at the bottom of the screen, there should be a little speech bubble. It says chat. If you click on that, a sidebar will open where you can see everyone's chat back and forth. If you have questions throughout the presentation, you're welcome to include them in there. I'm happy to go over those. We have Julie from Perfections Bridal Studio in Worcester, and she has included her Instagram, and I believe it's her Facebook. Natalie and Sue from High Society Bridal Boutique. Jill from Jill Jones Bridal in Northern Ireland, welcome. Emma from Laboda Bridal, Northern Ireland, wonderful. Carmen, also from Laboda Bridal. Michelle Scott from Kudos Bridal in Edinburgh. Again, if you guys have social media accounts, and I'm sure you would all like more followers, you can add those in there and you guys can start to find them. This will be recorded, so just to let you know, you don't have to worry as long as you are muted and your video is off. We're not going to be seeing you, so that's not a problem. But if you did want to include your information in the chat, then that way we can find you afterwards on social. And that's what this is all about. It's all about learning how to post better on social, especially right now. There is just so much that can definitely be overwhelming along with regular life right now. So we want to make sure that you all have opportunities for growth and connection. We have Richard from Giussini, Mother of the Bride. So Instagram account is there, Giussini. Great, Laboda Bridal and Bambridge. Just adding a few more. So why don't you guys, we have Nadine from Sophia Grace Couture in Haddington. So also, if you guys have included in the chat, let me know. Are you looking more for guidance when it comes to Instagram, when it comes to Facebook, both? How many of you have TikTok? I know that that's still pretty new for a lot of individuals, especially for business accounts, but happy to answer any of those questions as well. Two Hat Ladies on Instagram, High Society Bridal Boutique, Kudos Bridal. Wonderful. We're going to give it a few more minutes. I think people are still joining here, so we want to give them an opportunity to join. But again, this is really a chance for you to be able to talk about all things social. I know sometimes it can be a little confusing when it comes to what you're going to post on all the different platforms, how it all works. Short answer for TikTok is no, you don't need to do any dances. So in case that was what was preventing you from joining TikTok, I want to encourage you, you do not need to do the dances. However, if you are inclined to do them, I am not going to stop you, and they are very popular. So you want to make sure that that if that's something that maybe it's one of your employees that wants to do that. We have Adela Jacobs from One Whitehall Banqueting Place, London, owned by Royal Horse Guards Hotel. Wonderful. Here we go. We have a few more joining. Again, if you're just joining, make sure that your microphone is muted, your video is off. This will be recorded. You're welcome to ask any questions in the chat. As I go through, I'm happy to answer those as we go along. Also, if you wanted to introduce yourself, we'd love to know who you are and what your accounts are so we can follow you on social media. If your Facebook and your Instagram is different, please make sure that you note that so we can follow you on both. Few more here joining, and we'll get started in just a minute. Again, any questions that you guys have about social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course TikTok, you're welcome to enter those in the chat also. We'll definitely be going over those. Okay. I have to say that I was very, on one hand, very relieved. I was going to be at London Bridal Fashion Week. I'm very much looking forward to seeing everyone in person, but also very relieved that that hopefully everyone can stay safe during this time. So we have Jane from the Crystal Fairy Company, Kent. She doesn't use TikTok, but she's on Facebook and Instagram. Jane, if you can put your account on the chat there, then people can find you and follow you. Wonderful. Okay, I think we're gonna get started here. Again, if you guys have questions, you can use the chat. At the bottom of the screen, there's a little speech bubble button that says chat. You can open that up, so tap on that and it will show on this side or possibly below, depending on how you're joining. Make sure that your microphone is muted so you can hear everything I'm saying clearly. This will be recorded, so just as a reminder, and in the event that you're needing to rewatch it or you wanted to go back and look at all the chats to find everyone's accounts, you can do that as well. Here we go. Okay. All right. Sarah from the Bridal Lounge. We're on TikTok, but I loathe it with a passion. LOL. You're not the only one. I have to say that if you are generally above a certain age, TikTok is a little bit of an enigma, and certainly something that is can be very, very confusing. We have Mousetrap Dress Boutique in Havant, Hampshire, and they are on TikTok. So we have them on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So Sarah says that she uses Instagram to post and that it auto updates in Facebook, which is a very easy way to make sure that you always have content in Facebook. If you have it synced, there's a lot of different platforms that you can use that are scheduling software, online platforms that you can do where it automatically will post to your Facebook. Okay, just make sure everyone that your video is off, that your microphone is off. Okay. Sarah was saying, but her Facebook account doesn't seem to gain traction. Should you do each separately? So we're going to cover that a little bit. I do believe that auto posting is a great way, again, to add more content for your Facebook, and it's definitely something that that you want to do. Obviously, people who are going to be visiting you on different platforms, you want to make sure that there's content for them to engage with. So that's definitely something that's good. We have Helen from the Bridal Box. She's on all the social media accounts, and it's a full-time job in and of itself. I could not agree more. It absolutely is. And this is why people have this as their job. It is literally their job to be a social media manager. All right, so we're going to get started. Again, if you're just joining, make sure that your microphone is muted. At the bottom left corner, there's a mute for the microphone. And you also want to make sure that your video is off. And here we go. We're going to share my screen. Again, my name is Megan Garmers, and oops, there we go. All right, my name is Megan Garmers, and I'm with the Bridal Masterclass. Here we go. We're going to be talking today about what you should and should not be posting on social media right now. And that is definitely something that, you know, if you have questions about that, you are not alone. It is definitely a confusing component for many. And so when it comes to figuring all of that out, you want to make sure that you have a strategy. And that's why, you know, there are social media strategists, digital marketing strategists. Social media is meant as a platform for you to be able to connect with people. And so understanding how and what you're putting out there to connect with them is very important. So again, my name is Megan Garmers with the Bridal Masterclass. And to start out, I usually like to start with a quote. I feel like Gary Vaynerchuk is a somewhat controversial individual. His methods might not necessarily be mine, but there are a lot of points of truth that he does have to say. One of the things that I like that he had said was, please think about your legacy because you are writing it every day. And I think understanding and remembering that you're writing your legacy. And especially when it comes to social, a lot of you are very aware of the fact that with the internet, everything is forever. And so really making sure that what you put on there is representative of you, and it's also representative of your company. Remembering that it is something that should speak to your ideal client, and it should be engaging for them to want to learn more about your product or service, come into your store, and engage with your staff as well. So just remembering that I think is important when you're thinking about what you're going to be posting on social media. Again, my name is Megan Garmers with the Bridal Masterclass. I also have another company, MG Hair and Makeup. Been in the wedding industry for over 20 years. MG Hair and Makeup is the oldest and largest hair and makeup agency in the United States. We do lots of different runway catwalk shows for Bridal Fashion Week, both in the US as well as in London and Harrogate. So the Bridal Masterclass is an opportunity really for wedding professionals, wedding industry, to learn more about what it means to have a great business. I think we all go into this because we love the wedding day, we love working with couples, but really understanding much more about having a business and all the components that go with that is something that seems almost secondary or tertiary. And what we want to do is make sure that you have opportunities for growth and development when it comes to your business. And specifically right now, understanding how you're going to be pivoting, what you're going to be doing so that you can have a thriving business. So first and foremost, social media. Why? Why should we even be on it? When it comes to your ideal client and it comes to any type of advertising or marketing, the most important thing is making sure that you are where your ideal client is. So backing up just a step, if you don't know who your ideal client is, then you need to take the time to figure that out. You can message me through our Instagram. So our Instagram is _bridal_masterclass. Go ahead and DM me. Let us know that you want a worksheet. We have a worksheet for you that kind of helps take you through who exactly identifying your ideal client would be. So who is that? And understanding how you're going to be targeting them. That's very, very key to making sure that you understand what you're posting. Again, if you don't know who that is, go ahead and DM me. We have a wonderful worksheet for you to kind of fill that out and figure that out for yourself. But when it comes to advertising and marketing, you want to make sure that you are where your client is. Doesn't do you any good to be putting up billboards if your ideal client doesn't live in that area physically, right? They're not going to see it. So if you know that they're on social, and the majority of couples and brides, they are on social, then that's really where you need to be. So you need to be where they are, absolutely, which is social media. You need to be what they are. So understanding who they are so that the content that you are producing, that you're putting out there, what you're posting, what you're commenting, that it is in line with who they are, their thoughts, their feelings, really what they're going through so that they feel like you get them. That's important. And then how they are. So understanding, again, what are their preferred methods, whether that's preferred method of contact, preferred method of interaction, of how they want to engage with you. Understanding that what you're offering needs to be something that they're looking for and in the way that they're looking for that. If those boxes aren't checked, then whether you're on social media or not, your ideal client isn't going to be finding you. So when it comes to social media, understanding the what is also very important. If, again, you're not aware of what is kind of going on social media, specifically for things like TikTok, for platforms like Instagram, if those are still a little bit confusing for you, again, DM us. We're happy to take you through more detailed information. We have an online course, Social Media 101, to kind of take you through that at a slower pace. But really understanding what you're going to be doing on social media is important. So knowing that social media is really meant to do three things. It's meant to provide you information, it's meant to entertain you, and it's meant for connection. So it is really what bridal fairs and old bridal directories used to be in the past. If you went to a wedding fair, a bridal fair, and I know that a lot of them are kind of being reborn and rethought of, which is fantastic. But when it comes to going to one, right, you go there to get information, booths, you would go booth to booth, right? You would go there to be entertained. Usually there's some type of live entertainment. There's a fashion show. There's something for them to, just to enjoy, whether or not they make a purchase. And then they would go there to connect. So they'd have conversations. Maybe they would want to talk to a vendor, a supplier that they had been thinking of, or maybe talking with over the phone, or they had stopped in a store. All of that has to do with kind of why they're there. Couples, and specifically brides, are on social media. What are they there to do? They're there for the same reasons. They're there to make sure that they can get information, that they can be entertained, and that they can connect. And so if you're not thinking of how it is that you can really connect with, provide information for, and entertain your ideal client, social media is not going to work for you. And the whole point of being on it is so that you can have it work for you. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you should not be posting right now. So for those of you who are unsure, unaware of what the RN at the end. So on whether it's on you're texting back and forth, you're on WhatsApp, you're on iMessage, or you're in social media and you're in comments, RN is a short version for right now. For others, I know that if you had been to one of my previous seminars at London Bridal Fashion Week, we talked a lot about IRL, what that means, and in real life. And I think right now, RN, it's important to remember that their real life is very different than what it was 2 months ago. So if you are posting the same types of posts that you did before, or you're posting things that are tone deaf, it's going to speak very loudly to your ideal client that you don't get them. And the number one thing that millennials and Gen Z consumers want to know is, do you understand them, right? If you don't understand them and they feel like you don't understand them, then they're not going to want to have anything to do with you, what you're posting, what you're selling, what you're providing. And so making sure that you're not posting things that are not in line with what's going on right now. And while I definitely suggest that scheduling your posts can be very helpful for you, you want to make sure that you're not scheduling things so far in advance that it is totally removed from reality of what's going on right now. The world is changing very quickly. And so it's really important to make sure that you are aware and in line with the current things that are happening and what your ideal clients could be really struggling with right now. Most of them are probably not going outside, traveling with their friends, taking large selfies where they're within 6 feet of each other. So you want to make sure that you're not posting things that are, exemplifying what's not going on in their life. When it comes to things you should not post, you should not be posting anything political. So if you don't already, you should definitely make sure that you have separate business and personal accounts on all your social media. Your personal account should be private. It should not be public. And if you're going to make it public, it should be an extension of your business social media account. It should not have things that would be controversial. And I've heard a lot of individuals push back and say, oh, well, millennials want to know who you are and who they're buying from. And that's absolutely correct. But they don't necessarily want to know all of every thought that happens to be going through your brain, right? The same way that you're not going to have a conversation with someone about rocket science, if that was your profession before you got into retail, you're not going to have a conversation about rocket science with someone who either doesn't understand what you're saying, doesn't care about what you're saying, and maybe even has a preconceived idea about what you're saying. If it doesn't apply, then you don't need to make a post about that. Making sure that you are neutral is important because you do not want to get in your own way. You do not want to turn away business unless that is really what you want to do and you're really, whether you're kind of building a fortress or a wall around yourself and you're saying, I do not want to serve these individuals who are willing and able to give me their money. If that's you, then that's fine. But if you want to make sure that you are open and available for any and everyone who wants to give you their money to do so, then you should not be posting things that could be controversial. Politics, religion, anything kind of that, again, you have very, two sides of the fence. You want to make sure that you stay away from those. You want to make sure that you're staying away from same as usual posts. And so we kind of talked about that, but making sure that you're not just recycling the same things that you had been talking about before. And that might mean about, what you're posting in terms of images. It might mean the captions that you're using. Maybe the images are similar, but the captions have changed. So make sure that whatever it is you're putting forth is something that is going to be relatable to where your ideal client is, what they're experiencing right now. You also want to make sure that you're not posting things that are not connecting. Again, it should not be some stagnant, standalone post that you're putting out there. It should be something where people are able to and want to engage. You should have a call to action, a CTA, either in the middle, at the end, at the beginning. Should tell them what you want them to do based on that post, right? You want them to comment below. You want them to go to your website. You want them to send you a DM. What do you want them to do based on the information, the image, the content, the caption that you are putting forth? What do you want them to do with that? Because people need direction, right? Otherwise, and I'm sure that you've been guilty of it. I certainly have. It's easy to just keep scrolling, right? And even if you read something amazing or you read it and in your mind, you're like, yes, absolutely, I agree with that. Or I feel that, that sentiment. If you see comment below, right, the chances of you commenting are going to be greater. That's going to help you in two different ways. Number one, it's going to provide engagement, right? It provides the opening for a conversation that maybe you would not have otherwise had. Potential client, potential friend of a client, ideal clients that you might have. That's important. And also it helps to boost your social media posting. So if you haven't already heard about the algorithms that Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok have, and how they essentially curate and choose what you get to see, that is definitely something you want to work with, not against. They don't publish their algorithms. They don't tell you exactly what to do. That would be like cheating them out, and they don't want to do that. So what you can do, and we know for a fact works, are making sure that you like, comment, that you save, and you DM others on the platform. So whether that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the more you're engaging, the more you're on that platform, the more that you are providing opportunities for, and people are taking advantage of, the opportunity to connect back with you, engage back with you, your post is seen by the algorithm that it is worth other people seeing. That if this person over here really likes it and thinks, I like it enough to engage with it, there have to be other people who also agree, right? So that's that social proof. The algorithm's like, yes, so we're gonna put that on the home feed of more of your followers. So gaining followers doesn't do you any good if your posts aren't going to be showing up in their home feed, right? The way that you can get in their home feed is making sure that your posts, that your photos, and that your captions, everything is very engaging, and that you're engaging back, right? You're asking them to comment in the comments, you're telling them to save it for later, you're sending them a DM, or you're asking them to send you a DM. That's all engagement, and that's all helping your account be seen more by your followers, as well as if you're using hashtags. So hashtags, you can have up to 30 on your Instagram posts. There is a limit, so make sure that you're mindful of that. And you want to make sure that you're targeting anywhere from, in the low thousands to about 40 to 50,000. You should not be using hashtags that have the number next to it. So if it's 1.9 million, you generally don't want to use those, except if you are posting your story. At that point, it's reverse. So you want to use the larger, not the smaller, and you only get 10 of those hashtags. So understanding again what to be posting so that you are connecting, right? You don't want it to just be a standalone stagnant post. And this can all seem very overwhelming. And so is it better just not to post? As we can see by the dead plant over here, you definitely want to make sure that you are posting, right? If you are not posting, you are as good as the dead plant. So when you don't show up, right? When you don't show up on social media, it's like not showing up to your job, right? If someone doesn't show up to their job, right, you wonder, where are they? Are they okay? Do they care? Maybe they don't care. Are they still even interested in this job? Those are natural thoughts and natural assumptions, questions that you're going to have if someone's not showing up. The same can be said for social. So you can't be found, right? If you don't show up, people aren't going to see you. That algorithm is not going to be putting any of your old posts in front of people, for sure. And people aren't even going to know that you exist. Or if they do know you exist, they're certainly not going to be thinking of you. You're not going to be top of mind. And when it comes to a purchase, you're going to go by the wayside, right? How many different things are being presented to your ideal client? 1 million, especially if they're on social media, which they are. So they're constantly being inundated with new information, right? If you are not there, they can't find you, and then they can't buy from you. Not showing up also makes your clients wonder whether or not you're in business. Are you in business? No one's going to go out of their way to check if you're still in business, unless maybe if they had an appointment with you or they weren't sure, about something that was coming up that they had already contacted you about. But even then, right? How many times do you have appointments who just don't show up? So giving them another reason to wonder whether or not they should be there, whether or not you are in business, that's important to make sure they don't have that question in their minds. And lastly, of course, you want to make sure that it looks like you care. When you don't show up, you look like you don't care. You don't care what's going on in the world. You don't care what's going on with them, with your ideal client. One of the most important things about sales is connection. So if you can't connect and show that you care about your ideal client, why would they want to buy from you, right? Not to mention the fact that it can make you look disorganized. Nobody wants to buy from someone who they're going to wonder whether or not you're going to stay in business. The new normal right now, everything is up for grabs. Everything is changing. Small businesses are going out of business by the handful. Even large businesses are going out of business. And so it does present the question to brides, to couples, okay, if I'm going to be making this purchase and it's a long-term relationship purchase, then I want to make sure that person's going to be in business when I need whatever it is that I've purchased. So what should you be posting right now? So it is important to make sure that you are encouraging and you are a bit of a light in this dark time. It allows you to, one, be seen as someone who's positive, right? Everybody wants to see positivity. Everyone wants to be a part of something that seems to make people happy, right? Weddings, that's one of the reasons why we are all in the wedding industry. We love to see people happy. So encouraging them is only going to bring them more joy and happiness. If you are doing that on social media, it brings a smile to their face. They're going to remember that. Whether you're posting quotes, whether you're posting a photo and maybe your caption is sympathetic. So we cannot even imagine, or our hearts are breaking right now for our 2020 brides, right? Being sympathetic is important because you're saying, I see where you are and I feel your pain. right? Recognizing that, feeling like they have a friend in you, right? You understand them. It's part of that sales process. You want to make sure that they feel like you get them. The sympathy that you can provide allows for that, especially right now. Encouragement, so offering good news, right? Are you making masks for essential workers? Are you making masks to sell? Are you making masks and donating? Are the designers that you carry making masks? What are some, really great stories, some good news posts that you can be posting to let people know about what's going on and light in the darkness right now? That's going to be helpful for them to see that you are a leader and that you're going to weather the storm. You also want to make sure that you're posting about new operations. In this new normal, there's a lot that's going on and nobody really knows what to expect. However, when you are posting about what you're doing, how you're proactively making sure that you are up to date, that's important. And in the process, again, providing information like we talked about, you are providing them new information so that they can rest easy knowing that if they're going to be making a purchase with you, that it's going to be something that they can feel confident about, right? So what to expect for existing clients, right? Maybe you have already emailed out or sent letters to your existing clients telling them what to expect in the near future for the rest of the year, but have you told everyone else? Be your own PR. Let people know this is what we're doing for our existing clients. If you are one of our existing clients, this is how you're treated. This is how we love you. This is how we care, right? Even though they might not currently be an existing client, seeing what's going on as a testimonial is something that is going to be helpful for making a future sale. Making sure that you're posting your new safety guidelines for you and your team. That's important. It also goes to the aspect of care. We care about our clients. We care about those who come in, and we want to make sure that you're safe. This is how we're doing it, right? Again, you're providing information, you're encouraging them, and you're letting them know, I know that this is a concern you have. And they're thinking, oh my goodness, you just read my mind. That's amazing. That right there is that connection that you want to foster. And then you want to make sure that you have new virtual services that you're offering. So whether that's for your products, whether that's for the shopping experiment or experience, and you want to make sure that those are being announced. So what are you offering now? We're offering virtual dress shopping. This is how it works. It's a perfect video. You can make it into a story. You can make it into a post. You could put it on IGTV. You can put it on TikTok and make it fun and exciting, right? TikTok doesn't have to be about dances, and it certainly doesn't have to be about pranking or spoofing people. It can be just educational and fun. And those are things that, again, putting it out there for people to see shows them, number one, that you have things that apply to the current situation. And number two, that you're there. Again, you're showing up. You're showing up for your business and you're showing up for your clients. That's something that they're going to want to be a part of. And then showing your virtual side. I know that it might not be the easiest to show your face on camera, and understanding all the ins and outs to lighting, to camera positioning, to video editing, that can definitely be overwhelming. Understand that it's fairly straightforward when it comes to going live. No one is expecting the same type of perfection that a normal marketing video would have. Even in TikTok, perfection is not needed. And it's one of the things that a lot of Gen Zers love, is that it's not perfect. So they feel like it's really real, whether it is or not. But showing your virtual side is important because it allows people to see that you're human, right? So your virtual side, so show off those virtual services. Show off the virtual services and let people know this is what's going on right now. Maybe you, ask a client that you had a virtual appointment with, do you mind if I take a photo and post it, right? So if you do, then you're saying, love meeting our clients virtually, seeing their faces gives us joy, even if it can't be in person, right? It's a great way to be able to, again, show your virtual side, show the things that you're doing right now that could apply, and how you're open for business, maybe in a different way, but you are open for business right now, considering everything else that's going on. Highlighting virtual clients and their experience. So like I just said, maybe you sent a dress to someone and they're trying on 3 dresses, right? Asking them if you can share the 3 dresses, not telling maybe if they chose one, not saying which one they chose, asking them again, is it okay that I post this? Maybe you're just posting from the neck down. You can do that as well, right? So understand there's different ways of being able to show your virtual side and let people know that you are open for business. And then lastly, like I was saying, Facebook and IG Lives are a great way to be able to talk directly to your clients. You can post that on IGTV. You can also share that to your IG story, which is very popular. And people will get lost in the stories and they'll just keep watching and watching and watching. The same way on TikTok, how it's easy to just watch. You don't really have to do a lot. So those are opportunities for you, again, to put forth information, to show your face, to provide encouragement as virtually in person as possible, and let people know that you are there and you're open for business. So Apple's chief design officer, he recently left, but Jonathan Ive, he says it's very easy to be different, but it's very difficult to be better. And I could not agree more. When it comes to stores, when it comes to retail shopping, when it comes to weddings, any product or service, right? You can provide something that's different. Most likely you have something that's different than every other store, every other service provider out there. But how are you better? And understanding specifically right now in this crazy time, how are you pivoting? How are you reinventing yourself? We have a new membership group coaching site that we're going to be launching soon. And it's specifically because so many wedding industry professionals, event professionals were like, I don't know exactly how to do that. I want to, I just need more guidance. And being in the new normal, knowing that everything that you had been doing for the last 10, 20, 50 years is not going to yield you the same types of results, that's important. It's like when the internet first came out, right? When social media first came out, after 9/11, right? Things totally changed. Nothing was the same. And if you held so tightly to what had been, longing for that to come back, you died, just like that dead plant, right? Businesses fail all the time. And the number one reason that they fail is because their product or service is no longer needed. People are not buying it. They're not spending money with that business. Usually because they don't know who their ideal client is. And if they do, they haven't been listening to their ideal client, really helping them meet their needs. What are their problems? How are we solving those for the ideal client? If you're not doing that, it's easy to be extinct. There's a book called Who Moved My Cheese? It's a fantastic book. I can put the title and author in the comments in just a minute. But the entire premise of the book, it's an allegory. The entire premise of the book is about these 2 humans, right? And these 2 mice who go into a maze, and they're going in, they're looking for cheese. And the mice find the cheese and they're eating it, and it's called Cheese Station C. Everyone's very happy, eating lots of cheese. Every day they go into the maze, they get their cheese, very, very happy. Until one day the cheese is gone. And the mice kind of had a feeling that the cheese was going to, be dwindling, gone. They were going to need to look somewhere else. So what did they do? They scurried off. They looked for another cheese station, right? What did the humans do? So the humans are called hem and haw. Ironic, right? And they sat there And they were mad and they were frustrated. And then they started blaming each other. It's your fault. You should have. Why didn't you? And then they got hungry. And eventually, one of them decided, you know what? We need to go. We need to do something. And it was scary. They didn't know where they were going, if there would be cheese. But they knew that if they stayed there, right, that they were going to be extinct. And Ha said that, it's very possible, right, to be extinct, to actually end up that way because you're not willing to change. And that's the opportunity that we have in front of us, right? Whether that's for social media, whether that's for just changing the way that we do business in general, if we're not being open to that change, there's a very great possibility that we could become extinct. So when it comes to the longevity of your business, and I know everyone wants to continue having business long past this, to be able to do that, you have to learn how to change and change the right way. And that's really what is key to any successful business. If you look at Apple, if you look at Google, if you look at even a company like Tesla, right? They are looking at something that's different and unique and no one else is doing that, right? So how are you changing? How are you approaching this new normal so that your ideal client has these needs met by you? So again, this is my information. I believe a couple of you had wanted our Insta handle, so it's right there. It's at @the_bridal_masterclass. You can also go to our website, which is thebridalmasterclass.com, find out more information about us, our membership site, and online courses that we have. Again, if you don't, as I had mentioned before, if you don't already know who your ideal client is, if that in previous years was whoever happened to come into your shop or contact you online or because you carried a certain designer, I mean, talk about change, right? The number one thing that fashion has seen now is how effective virtual buying can be, whether you're on the consumer end or you're on the wholesale end. So remembering that there are lots of different opportunities now than there had been in the past. And I say opportunities because instead of problems or issues, really framing the way that we think about this is important, because that's going to change the way that we're able to find solutions. And that's the whole thing. So we want to make sure that you have solutions. When it comes to, again, social media, knowing what those solutions are and how you can provide them for your clients via the platform of social media is definitely important. So thanks for joining. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you guys have any questions, you can enter them in the Zoom chat, and we can definitely go from there. In terms of TikTok, I know that a lot of people get very maybe confused when it comes to TikTok. What do you think of Canva? I love Canva. I think Canva is great. If you are not a Photoshop, InDesign, Adobe wizard, Canva is a great option. There's lots of apps when it comes to both Android and iPhone. Lots of apps that are for text, for creating, essentially you can take your photos and put text on top of it. You can filter things. You can do quotes, of course, things like that. There's lots of those types of apps, and some are free, some are paid. So, again, kind of figuring out what's going to work best for you. What are you most comfortable with is important. But I would highly suggest using that type of app, especially if you're not proficient in Adobe. But when it comes to, like I was saying, when it comes to TikTok, the number one thing that you can do is when you go on there, don't just stay on that homepage, because that can be very confusing, unsure of what you're doing. You want to make sure that you I would first go to the search the explore search tab, and you can type in things. So you can type in a hashtag like hashtag wedding, hashtag wedding planning, hashtag bridal fashion, hashtag wedding dress. And you can see, right, you're doing a little recon. You can see who the other users are, what are they posting, what's common. Because again, if you look at the full entirety of Facebook or the full entirety of Instagram, probably lots of the things that are on there you don't even see, right? On TikTok, everything is right there. So it could be confusing in terms of like, what are people using this for? What should I be posting? I'm not going to do a dance, right? If you start to type in those hashtags and you start to see who are the people I should be following, who are the people that are like me, what are they posting, right? That is really helpful for you to be able to understand, okay, what are the things that I want to be posting? And then you can go into their create. So there's a plus button in the middle, and you can create a video, right? You choose a song, you can choose different photos. So it doesn't have to be an actual video you shot. It can actually be a video you create based on photos. So if you wanted to add in 4 or 5 different photos, you can do that, put the song in there, and it will have different screen transitions. So whether it's, shuffling it to the right or the left or up or down, it has these different types of transitions, kind of like in PowerPoint, how you can have something where it fades in. They have, these cool and different new types of transitions that you can do between, you can do during or just between the different photos. And that's going to give you an opportunity, again, to make it a little bit more engaging than just a static image, right? Gives you an opportunity to put a description. You can put hashtags. There is a character limit, so they're very strict on that. You want to make sure that you, again, are choosing hashtags the same way you would for Instagram. So you don't want the hashtags that are millions and millions of viewers. That's not going to help you right away. Make sure that you are using hashtags that are a little bit smaller at first, but then finding these people, following them, right? Following individuals that you think, 1, could be helpful for you, 2, you would like their content, and then 3, maybe it's another wedding supplier that you work with. Maybe it's someone else in the industry, right? Those are great people to follow. They're going to follow you back. You can send them messages the same way that you do on Instagram. So there's a lot of great things, in terms of how you can be using TikTok. And again, the most important part of that is just showing up, right? So even if you just create an account, try that first and start to dip your toe in there. If you're not going to be using hashtags right away, most likely people aren't even going to find you. So even if you tried a video and you posted it and you're like, whoa, that was horrible. I hope no one ever sees that. You can delete it, right? So those are things that, again, trying it out, trying something new, being willing to change is going to allow you to make sure that you're not going to be extinct. Because right now I can guarantee you that your ideal client, no matter who it is most likely on TikTok. So if you're using songs on social media and it's a business page, can you run into problems? So that's one of the things about TikTok is when it comes to those songs, there are very few trademark issues, copyright issues. It's a really unique thing. And kind of, it's one of those things, they give you song options. So you can upload your own song options, but using popular songs that they have the clips is usually better. 1, it provides that continuity for people to know, like, okay, I've heard this before, I've seen this before, in terms of the song that you choose, but also any copyright infringement, trademark things, you're not needing to really worry about that in the same way. So I hope that answered your question. As far as other platforms, there's Twitch, if you're not familiar with Twitch. Twitch is primarily a gaming platform. However, DJs have been increasingly using it, especially right now because of quarantine and social distancing. It's a great way for people to be able to see a DJ, hear the music, and for the DJ not to be shut down by YouTube. And so there's a lot of different opportunities that exist right now when it comes to social media, and thinking again, where are my ideal clients, and um, where can I meet them, right? Right now, your ideal client might be a gamer. If they are, Twitch is the place to be. They're probably on TikTok as well, though, right? Are they on Facebook? Maybe, maybe not. They might be on Facebook because they use Facebook Messenger, but maybe not because they're posting on there, right? Same thing for Instagram. So maybe they're on there and they post some things, but they don't post a lot. Or maybe it's, kind of what was seen as Facebook in the past, that's now Instagram. So what are the best hashtags to use during the current situation to help you find your ideal client rather than weddings, brides? So it really comes down to, again, understanding your ideal client. So if you joined late at all, you can go ahead and DM us on Instagram, and we can send you a worksheet that kind of takes you through what you should be thinking about, because that's going to yield you the best hashtags, right? Maybe they're getting delivery from a specific restaurant that's very popular. Maybe, they're cooking at home. What are they trying to cook? Are they cooking, are they baking banana bread? Are they sick of baking banana bread? What are they watching? What are they binging on Netflix? Are they tired of binging on Netflix? Think about what they're going through right now versus what they had been. And a lot of that, again, is knowing who they are. So is it a certain type of profession, right? Are they still working from home? Is there, hashtag WFH, work from home, right? Are they trying to find hacks to work from home better? Are they trying to manage kids at home? Homeschooling, what are their struggles? What are their things that are their daily life struggles that they're going through in quarantine? Those are the hashtags that you're going to want to be using. Virtual weddings, micro weddings. Those are really popular right now because that's all that can be done when it comes to the weddings. Certainly not larger weddings, excuse me. If you're to focus on 2 social media platforms, which would you focus on? Instagram and TikTok. So Instagram, as we mentioned before, it automatically connects to your Facebook. So you can you can automatically post and not necessarily do a lot on there. Still have a presence, especially if you're going to be using Facebook Messenger at all. So you definitely would have that, but your Instagram account would be where you'd be mainly posting. Instagram has a lot of features that go with it. So you have regular Instagram posts. Excuse me. You have IGTV, which is long form video. So over a minute and 1 second. So make sure that your video is at least 1 minute and 1 second, or else you can't upload it to IGTV. It is a vertical video. So you make sure that you want to shoot the video, or you're showing the video vertically. And then you have IG stories, which are kind of short snippets. Maybe it's about kind of what you're doing RN right now. So you could do a screenshot of your computer and say, love learning new ways of serving our couples, stay tuned for our new virtual services. You could put that in an Instagram story, an IG story, and it's something new and exciting, different. It disappears in 24 hours. You can make it so that it saves automatically to your camera roll, so you can keep it for later. You can also use it in a highlight. So the circles that are kind of across the top before the posts on someone's account, those are highlights. So you can create a highlight, and it's kind of like a highlight reel of, again, the different stories that you posted. You have to have posted that image in a story for you to be able to put it in a highlight. But you could have highlights of different designers. You can have highlights of past brides, past customers. You can have it like if you do alterations, if you have accessories, maybe you're wanting to show off new things. You can do stories about that. Add that in there and then put that in a highlight. Obviously, the other thing that we talked about before also was IG Live. So doing an Instagram Live right? Maybe you're answering questions about virtual appointments. Maybe you are doing a virtual appointment on IG Live. Maybe you are in the shop showing different gowns or different silhouettes. Maybe you're doing some education in terms of types of material. There's so many different things that you can do for an IG Live. You want to think about posting it. You want to post it to your story that you're going to have an IG Live. You want to think about when your ideal clients are on Instagram, potentially wanting to look or can look at an IG Live. And again, that's going to be different than how it was, prior to everyone else, quarantine, lockdown, understanding again, what are their habits right now? What's their life like right now? And in terms of hashtags, Julia, let me know if that answered your question. And then I'm sorry, Susan, the other platform, like I was saying, was TikTok. So finding some photos, finding some short form video, even taking, maybe past posts from Instagram and using those images to create TikTok videos. And you can create these, you can put stickers, emojis, things like that on it, like you would for an Instagram story. You can add hashtags in there on the screen. They don't count as hashtags to find your actual TikTok video. But if you wanted to say hashtag wedding or hashtag micro wedding or something, you can, and it gives, again, the viewer more context of what you're showing. Maybe it's the designers. You can have the stickers, the text, you can have that appear and disappear at certain points of the video as well. So if you've seen any of the TikTok videos where they're like pointing, right? And you're like, how do they do that? So they take the video of themselves pointing, and then during the editing process, they have the text that appears during the part where they're pointing, and then it disappears, and then the text that appears over on the other side, and then it disappears, or it stays, so those are different options that you can do on TikTok. You don't have to talk if you don't like your voice, if you don't like the way you sound, if you can do just the sound like music and have things there on the screen for people to read. So there's those options also. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions at all about either anything I talked about or specifically on social media, TikTok, Instagram, IGTV, Instagram stories? How many of you use Instagram stories right now? You can put it in the chat and let me know. How many of you are actually posting to Instagram, or you're a little bit afraid and you haven't really posted? In the group chat, just put posted or not posting. Great. Carmen says that they use stories and posting. Good. 6 to 7 days on Instagram. Jill, oh my goodness, you do need a social media manager. Posting regularly using stories. Great. Not great on Insta, more of a Facebook person, Julie. My colleague does the Insta, but she's currently furloughed. That can definitely be a challenge. I would suggest, doing your best and spending time on Instagram, looking at accounts that you like, so that you can kind of figure out what you want to do in terms of your brand voice on Instagram, if that's the same or different from Facebook. I will say this, that it's important to make sure that you delegate well. Any business owner knows that. But it's also important to know that you are able to do and understand what other people are doing in the event that you need to do it, right? What's the point of it? For 2 reasons. One, if you hire a social media manager and you don't know anything about social media, you have no idea how to manage your manager. That's not going to be helpful for you. If you don't know anything about selling or anything about wedding gowns, right? And you hire someone to be a boutique manager, you can't evaluate whether or not they're good or not. So you need to know enough to be able to manage them well. What are the metrics that you're looking for? What's your brand voice? What's your brand messaging? You know, again, if you aren't sure of what that is, DM me on Instagram, and, you know, happy to have a conversation with you, send you a worksheet on that. Knowing all of those things are important, because that needs to bleed through on everything that you're doing, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever it is. Can a TikTok post anywhere? Oh, like Instagram and Facebook. If you're searching in Google, you're not going to be finding TikTok videos as of now. That doesn't mean they're not going to change that later on. TikTok's fairly new. They have had their best quarter yet, and they have been growing intensely, obviously due to quarantine and people's just obsession to escape, be entertained, do something that's not serious, right? When we're faced with life or death, sometimes it's easy to, you know, it's better for our brains to think about something that doesn't matter, like TikTok, a silly dance. And so that's one of the reasons why it's been so popular. It will continue with popularity because it is now a new habit that people are using every day, and they're going to continue to use even after they go back to their quote unquote regular life. Posted but don't use stories much. I would definitely suggest, Helen, for you to use stories as much as you can, even if you're posting and then there's like a little, looks like a paper airplane or an arrow. You have the heart button for liking, you have the comment button, and then you have the share button. You want to share your posts to your stories. So that way, if people aren't seeing your post in their feed, they're going to see your story, hopefully, and then be able to see, oh, you have a new post. Maybe I want to read that. Right? And there's little stickers and GIFs that you can use. So, you know, it says new post, or you can put text in there. Don't forget, you get 10 hashtags for your stories. You want to use the larger hashtag. So this would be where you're using hashtag bridal fashion, hashtag wedding dress, hashtag whoever the designer is. So Allure, Justin Alexander, Ramona Caveja, right? Whoever it is that you're featuring, you want to make sure that you're including that so that people are going to be able to see that on the explore page of what they're looking for on Instagram. Post once a day and stories every other. That's good. I would suggest, Julia, for you to again, even just on the days that you're not doing more on stories, post your post on your stories. So share that on your stories, because that's going to give you, again, more traction. If you had to only choose one or the other, I would choose stories over posts if you're looking for consistent eyeballs, right? Because people are wanting that just nugget of information. Stories, they're spending more time on stories than they are on just scrolling through in the posts. Posting fun on Instagram story is not started IGTV yet. Video editing seems hard. So one of the things that if you're on IGTV, right, and so there's two things. One, if you do an IG live, at the end of the IG live, once you end it, you have the opportunity now to just post it directly on IGTV. And it's just going to show the live. If someone's looking at your IGTV and they see that it was an IG live, they understand that there's no video, like you don't need to video edit anything, right? It's just, that was your live as if they joined live. So you can add in your title and your description, whatever it is. And there you go. You have some IGTV stuff that you can put on there. You want to put your hashtags and all of that as well. So that's one way of doing that. The other part is if you're taking a video and it's more than a minute and 1 second long, you're taking a video, most phones have the option. So if you're looking at that video, an iPhone, if you're in the Photos app and you're looking at the video, if you go to edit, it has the option to trim the beginning and trim the end. That's the easiest way to edit a lot of the videos. Maybe you don't like the way that you were looking at the beginning of the video. Maybe you didn't end it well and you had smiled and then you did something else. You didn't realize it was still on, right? Or you went over to the phone to turn it off and you want to edit that out. That's totally fine. Really easy to do in the edit function for most photo video apps on your phone. So that's an easy way to do that, and then just resave it. The other thing is there's a lot of different apps that you can get on your phone, Android and iPhone, um, that again are video editing apps where you can do that within that video editor. So there are those options also. There is iMovie. So if you have an iPhone, you can download iMovie, and there is the option to be able to do that, like the trimming. If you wanted to put text, you can get creative and do that. You can do audio, do lots of different video editing options on there. But there are other video editing apps that you can actually just download and use. Some you pay for, some are free. And I always encourage, like, if you're unsure about like what type of app to download and use, download a bunch of them that are free and try them out, because sometimes one interface is going to be more intuitive for you than another. Sometimes it's you like the way that the options, the different features they have over another one. So you need to kind of try it and see what works for you, and that might be different from someone else. Sarah says, not use stories much during lockdown, posts a lot less frequent, but will change now. Never been on TikTok, might need to pursue first. I would highly suggest it. We are on TikTok, so if you go on TikTok, it's at the Bridal Masterclass. So you can find us on TikTok, and you can see my very first TikTok video. I had no idea what I was doing. My son had to show me, and I look ridiculous because I was like, what am I doing? But that's what it's all about. It's about, being able to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously, not be offensive, not be, instigated. Like, we're not trying to start any fights, wars, anything like that. We're just trying to have fun. Again, information, entertain, and connect. That's what it's all about. So if you can do that with your TikTok videos and think of that, how you're going to be doing that, that's fantastic. There's lots of different ways. You could, if you can fit into the gowns and you want to, take a gown home and like show yourself, pretending to clean with your gown on, right? You can do that. There's a wedding dress challenge where people were putting on their old wedding dresses on TikTok and like walking around. You can do something crazy like that. There's all these different things. Again, it's about engaging and making a connection, right, with your ideal client. So who are they and what are they watching? You need to know that. And you're not going to know that if you're not on TikTok. So I definitely suggest to go on that. And again, you can scroll through and kind of see like, what bucket does this video fit into, right? Think critically when you're on it. If you're just like, I don't know, and you're just trying to like absorb all the information, that's not going to be helpful for you, right? You're on there for a reason. You're on there for business. You're not just on there to waste time, which you can definitely waste a lot of time on there. But you'll be able to see again, what options are there for you to be able to kind of think about the types of videos that you want to post. See here. Jane says, I use Facebook mostly at the moment, less IG. Straight after this, my 11 and 14-year-olds are going homeschooling. Yes, I'm going to tell you this. They understand it a lot more. That said, what they're using it for is going to be different than what you're using it for. But how to use it, absolutely, 1,000,001%. Have them explain it to you. Tell them to go slow, but have them explain it to you, because that is by far the most important way that you can connect with today's couples. I'm certainly not getting any younger. And as much as kind of like in our minds, and I think we could probably all agree on this, like we're the same age. Like I haven't changed since I was in my 20s. I have, and the world has. And you know what? I'm still serving couples. I'm serving brides. It's the same. It's not the same. Those brides that we served before, they have children who are getting married. Their children are not like them, the same way that you're not like your mom, right? When you got married or you were going through that period of time in your life where it's like, Mom, oh, you don't understand, right? I'm not going to be wearing what you wore. I'm not going to look like, that's not how it works now. That is exactly who your ideal client is right now, not the old bride of yesteryear. So really embracing that and being willing to change is by far the most important thing that you can do. See here. Awesome. Lots of people. Julia, great. Thank you. You're totally welcome. Julie, these tips are great. Thank you. Absolutely. Susan, thanks very much. Of course. Sue, I don't have a child. I really need one for this TikTok, Mark. I'm going to tell you that it's definitely helpful when you have a child to help you. If you have a friend who has a child, I would see if they would be willing to do a little tutorial for you. You can also, I mean, you can definitely look on YouTube. There's lots of video tutorials on YouTube. You can DM us. We're happy to take you through as well. But just going on there and seeing what's on there first, I think taking that first step is probably the most intimidating because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're going on to. You don't know how it works. So that's intimidating. But I'm going to tell you, number one, by doing that, not only are you going to learn something new that's going to help your business, but it's also going to help you get over that initial, I have to change. I have to learn something new in order to keep my business alive. The more you do that, the easier it is to change the next time something comes up. And as we all know, nothing is staying the same. Nothing. It didn't stay the same, 30 years ago, and it's not going to be staying the same now. Change happens much more frequently, much faster now, by larger degrees. So we, of all people in all times, need to be more willing and adept to changing. And that's going to be the secret to your success. Jane's been very useful. Thank you. You're totally welcome. Julie also needs to borrow a TikTok child. So really good points. Thanks so much. Can we get a link so we can watch this back again? Absolutely. So Ella's going to take this video and she'll send it to you guys as well so that you can watch it and rewatch it. Stop, slow down, write things down if you missed it. Not a problem. But again, you're welcome to DM me on our Instagram. Happy to answer any questions anytime as well. Richard says, thanks. Stay safe, everyone. You as well. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It was an absolute pleasure. Nadine says, thanks. Stay safe. Jill says, thanks. You guys are totally welcome. Completely my pleasure. Again, if you have questions, you're welcome to DM me on Instagram, _bridal_masterclass. And you can also go to our website, thebridalmasterclass.com. Jill says thanks. You can sign up for any of our information. We have, like I said, our online classes. There is one on social media. And we can answer any of your questions. Our reinvention business membership is going to be opening later this week. So you're welcome to join that as well. Business coaching in a group session and also support and community. So thanks so much again. Thank you, Bridal Buyer and Ella, for having me on. I'll look forward to, thank you, Carmen. Absolutely. Great tips. I'll look forward to hopefully seeing you guys at the next, if we can have Harrogate, if all goes well, hopefully see you guys there. But otherwise, hopefully see you guys virtually. Thanks so much.